So again, behind the head of the Sphinx are a series of these incredible shafts, more than 10 feet across, 10 feet wide, and at present at least 60 feet deep, but filled with sand. So originally they would have been much, much deeper, and they would have carried water. The vertical shafts connecting with horizontal tunnels that carried water. According to Yusuf, this is of course, the causeway that goes to the second pyramid, and the water traveled through these horizontal systems of tunnels, carrying the water to the Great Pyramid and the others to generate electricity. The pyramids split water into hydrogen and oxygen. And so that's why there are the chambers inside the pyramids. They weren't burial places. They were places where electrical generation happened. In the base, the water came, was split, and traveled up through the galleries and shafts up. And for more information, check out Chris Dunn's Giza power plant. This is the causeway leading from the Sphinx Temple, Valley Temple, up to the second pyramid here. And this causeway is megalithic limestone. Massive blocks of, in general, tonnage. And as Yusuf has told me, it was probably originally had an outer layer of either limestone or maybe even granite, because you wouldn't tend to want to make a surface like this that is going to be used for people or animals or whatever to move on out of limestone. Limestone's quite soft. Granite's super hard. And again, the causeway, and what most people don't know, is that under the surface of the causeway are a series of chambers, and these are tunnels that lead down, possibly, to the great tunnel that travels from beyond the Sphinx up and into the lower parts of the second pyramid, so-called Khafre's pyramid. So the series of shafts, tunnels, here in between the Sphinx and the second pyramid is incredibly massive, far more massive than most people know. And they weren't all made for the burial of people. It's more likely that a lot of the tombs here in this area were actually inherited by the later cultures. Sorry?
That they were reused as tombs.
Right.
What I believe is that these shafts and tunnels and chambers, that 3 levels, let's take the Osirian shaft for example, is part of the original construction of the pyramid. But then later it was divided. This was for something, this was understood for something else. And the priest used some of these chambers to be tombs. That's the transformation. They were not originally built to be tombs, but they were used later to be tombs, and then archaeologists would come and find it as a tomb. Then he would thought that the original purpose of it was that it was made to be a tomb. This is the mistake.
Right. So the problem, as Yusuf has just said, is that if you presuppose that the dynastic Egyptians were the first ones here doing any kind of major work, then you would confuse this work with that. That is, in a lot of cases, like huge multi-ton blocks. This is reconstruction, but the work of the dynastic period, as Yusuf has pointed out, are blocks which one person could pick up, one person could shape. But that's, not to say nothing, but that is very simplistic work as compared to the construction of the 2.3 million blocks that make up the Great Pyramid, almost the same number making up the second pyramid, and a lot making up the third pyramid. So prior to the dynastic Egyptians were the Cometians, and the Cometians were the great builders, evidenced here by being able to hew into the solid living limestone.
You can see here how this resonance chamber works. This is the well where the sound of the water was coming from, and here would be front of it the pulse door. And the pulse door used to interact in that chamber with the sound. Can you hear that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's still resonating, but not in any other part of the chamber. Not here. Doesn't.
No.
But here, if the sound, if the running water from underneath created sound, the sound was going to come up from here and interact or be regulated to the resonance level through what we know as the pulse door. And that's what possibly generated the resonance, which was also needed, sound.
So again, here is the middle pyramid, and we're in an area that has these incredible shafts. These have nothing to do with digging burials for people. Look at the size of that. That has to be 15 feet across, more than 15 feet from front to back, and this channel in it. And it's not isolated. There are numerous vertical shafts here and throughout this whole area. And from what Yusuf has told me, you can find these shafts all through the strip of land called Bu Wizir, which is the most ancient part of the pre-dynastic culture here, the Cometians. And again, we're talking about vertical shafts, in many cases interacting with horizontal systems of tunnels carrying water, and not just water for irrigation, water to fuel these ancient power plants. So we're in the living bedrock now, or maybe not. These could actually be massive. Oh, this is megalithic rock? Okay, so this is the bedrock. The cracks that I thought were joints actually are just fissures and cracks in the stone, but still. You see this, again, this is the Giza Plateau. And anywhere you find a shaft or the tunnel entrance, of course you find a locked door. As Yusuf...
From the writings that exist here, we know that this part was transformed into a tomb.
Right. So the hieroglyphics are later, and this was converted into a tomb, but its original function was not that of a tomb. But quite possibly part of the water carrying system that was the, or for resonance.
Yeah, especially the higher ones will be more for resonance than water. Then look, here's the shaft leading to two, one from up, and then if you stood up a little, you're going to see that there is a chamber down here. So there are chambers, shafts, tunnels, chambers, like that.
How many levels do you think there are?
Three.
3 levels
At least.
of tunnel systems. Sphinx again?
Here's another chamber.
Oh yeah.
We're going to go down with the lift.
Wow. Okay. So
From the outside, not from the inside.
okay. Again, another shaft behind a locked gate, heading down. And in behind this gate, more.
This will lead to many rooms.
Uh-huh.
Shafts as well. Look where this all cut. This goes through one and it goes to the other.
Yeah.
And then this leads to another and the other leads to deeper one with other.
Uh-huh.
Like that one. This is how the system looks like. But unless we really want to reveal the whole construction and not just look for tombs,
Yeah.
we need to make like start from an area and just keep mapping everything and put lights and marks to lead our way because this is like a huge labyrinth.
Oh yeah. So what also we can see is we can see the difference even in when they worked in smaller scale. The quality difference between Commission work, which is older than dynastic, and the dynastic work. This is Commission. You see the beautiful complex angles, very tight fitting joints, originally very smooth finish. And then what Yusuf points out as being dynastic construction. Cruder, rougher surface, mortar, and cartouches, and hieroglyphics added later. This would have been a tomb most likely. It's been torn apart. And that's where we see parallels between here and Peru, because, again, most archaeologists, most visitors to Peru think that everything was done by the Inca, that the megalithic work in super hard stone was done with primitive tools. All it took was a lot of people to do the work. But that's nonsensical, because we see the same kind of thing. We see the megalithic is older, far superior. The Inca work is complex, but not as good. Sorry?
No decorations, no writing, nothing.
Right.
Except a big chamber with one well to the left and another one to the right.
Uh-huh.
And the other one probably leads further to the rest of the construction.
Ah. Yeah. You can see, hopefully here, on that side, see there's an indent in the wall at the end, and then there is a tunnel underneath it. You see the little dark area, that's a tunnel entrance. And again, according to Yusuf, at least 3 levels of tunnels here at the Giza complex, which, the word complex is too simplistic for this area. It's completely monstrous in scale.
This one was about to be transformed. You find the writings, you find they reshape something like a false door because it became something traditional after that. So they copied also.
Okay, right.
That's what makes it confusing.
Yeah.